Smugglers Jake here with my next episode of the Busby Classic series, where I take a look at a Busby blaster from the past that, at least in some way, shape, or form, either had a mark on the company's history, providing something that hadn't been done before, at least for them, or, quite simply, that I just find interesting. Now, we've already went through some of the very earliest offerings from 2003 and 2004, and what we're on to today is the 2005 released blaster called the Mech 6. Now, this is a kind of unique blaster that I think a lot of people haven't ever even seen. It had some very innovative features for the time, and are actually starting to kind of find their way back into the blaster world here in the past couple of years. And what I'm talking about is this is a flywheel powered blaster that is semi-auto. It has an on-off switch, no rev switch, no two-stage trigger, with a mechanical pusher, as well as a hopper. This is not a magazine, this is an actual hopper. Now, of course, it was intended to fire the original Busby suction cup darts. You know, you could hold 6 in the hopper, and here's the kind of neat thing. It still actually can fire modern darts, including Busby's own long-distance darts. You just simply take darts, keep dropping them in, one at a time, and once you have the hopper full, you can then turn on the blaster and be ready. It is loud. And then fire. And fire. And yeah, it is noisy. And yeah, it does have a little bit of feed issues, and that is because, of course, compare these old, as I dump a couple out so you can see, compare the diameter of the tips on these old suction cup darts to a modern dart, like say this Men gun. When you take the two side by side, of course, these are much wider diameter, which then leads into the issue of these flywheels do not like to grab a modern dart like that Men gun. Make sure it's fed in there. Turn it on. As that winds down. Now, that means two things. One, there is sometimes a delay of it catching and feeding, as well as reduced performance. This thing only fires at about 50 feet per second, roundabout. And because of the catching of the flywheels, which are mounted much like a Tommy 20, they are side by side. You can look in through the front, you see them. They are very chunky flywheels, vertically, and they have the traction ribs on them, just like you see on a lot of the Busby early flywheelers. But that leads to the fact that some of the darts that I fired, I shot about 20 or 30 before the video on my chronograph. They were going all the way down to 40. I did have one hit all the way up to 67. Need firing a mix of darts, but the bulk of them were about 45 to 53. So, not going to break any chronograph records. Not going to get on that top list of FPS numbers in the records. But it does actually still work today with today's darts. So, yay. Including Busby Precise Pros. Funny enough. Because those tips actually have a little bit more for this to bite onto. But the Mech 6 introduced flywheel with a hopper feed. It's been forgotten to history for the most part. But it was released in 2005, and it soldiered on for a couple of years before being dropped from the line, as Busby, went through the whole cycle in their early history of introducing a very neat blaster, run it for a couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years, and then it fades away, never to be seen again. Sometimes they become a limited release in another country, such as the Derringer, or sometimes, even though they had something innovative, they get forgotten to the past. But if you do run into a Mech 6, absolutely pick it up for the novelty of knowing it was one of the earliest flywheelers with a hopper feed system. And you can, as long as you don't care about ultimate performance, you can still just grab any random darts today and it will literally feed just about everything of your standard size darts. It'll feed, I've even had it feed Tagger darts. Not reliably, but because the Tagger darts, have the Velcro on them, it will grab them. and sometimes fling them. So it's pretty neat. It's kind of one of those, if you were just playing around the house and you just wanted to grab something that nobody has ever really seen, you can grab this. You can grab darts off the floor, just keep topping them off, and have fun with a very noisy little buzzsaw of a blaster. And it is kind of, in today's day and age, it's kind of cool to look at the retro design. It has the same handle as you find on a Tech 6, and at first glance from the backside, it looks like from here back, it looks very Tech 6-ish. So, kind of neat. That could even be a sling point if you wanted it to. If you're going to run, instead of being like the vintage Nerf player, if you want to be the vintage Busby guy, run this and, say, Tech 6 double shot. Just go silly. You'd be firing at 60 and below FPS with everything, but that'd be fun to do. What would be hilarious is if I could find a second one of these. It would be neat to actually modernize it. It carries 3 AA's in a decent sized battery tray, so you could 3D print an extended door. It would almost look like a magazine down here, but put a little lipo, put some modern. You'd have to be willing to redesign a new cage, set up your flywheels, and horizontal flywheels at times, can be a little finicky on accuracy. That's been taken care of in some designs, but I think it'd be kind of cool if I had a second one. This one stays 100% original because I've never found another one. This one was sent to me, and you know who you are who sent it? Thank you very much for allowing me to have one of these to add to the collection. But the Mech 6, a 2005 Busby flywheeler with a hopper feed that originally held 6 of the suction cup darts and will actually hold up to 7 of today's darts, firing at the blistering pace of around 50 feet per second. That's such high performance it scared off Whiskers the shop cat. Yeah. But this has been the next episode in my Busby Classic series, and in the next one we check out a even wilder contraption using flywheels from Busby. So this is Monkey Shake saying, hope you enjoyed this little bit of Busby history. Till then, thanks for watching.